as a little kid, like growing up and playing in the NFL was always my lifelong dream. So being able to come out here every single day and live out that dream is amazing to me. And then just also knowing that Gino and the whole offense have the trust and belief in me to take a play and take a shot like that with me. So knowing that they believe in me makes me want to work harder every single day.
Well, there you just heard it. Raiders rookie wide receiver Dante Thornton, who continued his strong training camp, strong offseason and strong training camp. Today, day 5 of Raiders camp here at the Raiders practice facility in Henderson. First day in pads, by the way. But before we get to all that, welcome.
By the way, the biggest story of the day.
It was the big. Oh, it wasn't.
Dante Thornton was the biggest story of the day. His long touchdown pass today.
It was, I guess. Interestingly, that's not what I'm writing about right now, but we'll get to that too, I would think. Anyway, just wanted to say welcome to Vegas Nation, 1st and 10, your weekly and now kind of almost every single day go-to for Raider news and analysis. We are here every day after training camp practice to give you the latest sights and sounds of what's going on here in Henderson. I'm Vinny Bonsignore. I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation. This is my colleague to my right, Adam Hild, does the same for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And before we get to everything, just want to remind everyone as well that Vegas Nation podcasts, including 1st and 10, are brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos, STN Sports. Well, Adam, we just heard on the top, Dante Thornton, the Raiders rookie wide receiver from Tennessee, has had some pretty nice days today in particular. I had it as a 65-yard touchdown. You're a little bit better at that than I am sometimes. You might have had a different vantage point, but it was a long touchdown throw where Dante got behind the cornerback, Darian Porter, who's also big and fast as well, perfectly thrown ball. By Geno Smith for a long touchdown, the second long touchdown we've seen in the last 2 days, the last 2 practices, which, Adam, is probably 2 more long touchdown throws than we saw throughout all of training camp last year. So kind of a good sign, I would think, if you're a Raider fans, that things are starting to come along, and the long ball might be part of the arsenal this year.
Yeah, red zone's still a mess too, so I think that's probably beneficial that they're getting some long touchdowns because it looks like, again,
that's
very,
the hardest.
Very early.
It's the hardest thing to put together. Yeah,
it's very early, but it has been the knock on Geno for sure in his career, and we're still seeing signs of that a little bit. So.
Nice play by DeCameron Richardson, by the way.
Yeah, good
pick.
That
was a very nice interception. I was right behind it actually. Yeah. What we were talking about was a red zone thrill, it was for DeCameron Richardson. Yeah. A red zone period, and that has been, like, if you look at Geno's interceptions last year, I think he had 15, 16 interceptions last year. It was double digits interceptions. The majority of them were in red zone situations, so it's something that he's got to get cleaned up. And today he was targeting, I think it was Trey Tucker, and DeCameron Richardson, the young cornerback from Mississippi State, made a real nice read on the ball, went up and got it, and got the interception. That's something that, as Adam said, needs to get cleaned up.
Yeah, it was a throw over the middle, just great break on the be really by
very nice play
by Richardson, but it was a throw that probably shouldn't have been made.
Exactly.
I think it's the biggest takeaway. But yeah, Thornton makes the big play. I'm not going to be able to tell you how long it was because I was actually walking up to get a better vantage point, and Thornton caught the ball about 5 feet from it. He was standing right where I was. So
you couldn't tell where it was.
Had a pretty good look at the catch, right where I was, and then he turned it upfield. Really good job. We talked about this yesterday with the Brock Bowers play in the end zone. He did a really good job shielding the defender, which was Porter, and then getting to the outside. And Geno threw him kind of open to the sideline. One of those, dropped it between him and the sideline where only he could get it, and did a really good job with body control to get there, get the ball, turn it upfield. Easy touchdown it would have been, even if they were tackling. So a great play there. And, I asked Dante, because he, obviously did speak today as we heard from him, but I asked him, obviously that play's great. Everybody knows he can do that, though.
You're right.
Everybody knows he can make those plays. That's not a surprise.
At least in college.
Sure. But
it's his strength.
It's his strength, no question. But I asked him if he's taking a little bit more pride, maybe even in the play we talked about the other day, the 10-yard out, shield the defender, use his body, get to the sideline, get your feet in, get the first down. He didn't say necessarily more, but he said absolutely those are the plays that he loves being able to show that he can do, because that's what has been doubted about him, that he can't run the full route tree, that he can't get those hard yards, that he's only a deep threat guy. And we're seeing more than that in camp. I think it's been very impressive, and that's why he's getting a lot of first-team reps.
To that point, earlier it was actually the first segment of 11 on 11s, and it was a run period, but they ended it with first-team offense anyway. Ended it up with a couple of throws, and there was a throw to him, which from my vantage point anyway, he didn't run either the right route or he cut off the route. I thought the ball should have been caught. He didn't catch it, and it went for an completion.
That's one over the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It felt like that was another sign. I made a mental note of it. Those are the little things in terms of becoming a well-rounded wide receiver that Dante has to work on, quite honestly. And conversely, even though Jack Besh was working with the twos today and Aiden O'Connell, I thought he had a nice day doing those things.
I thought Jack Besh had maybe might have had the best day of anyone on the offense, but I think it was definitely his best day that we've seen in camp for sure.
Yeah, and part of the reason, and am I surprised? Not necessarily. And I'll say this, Adam. I felt like with the pads coming on, that's his game.
Yeah. His
game is physicality. His game is real football, basically. Yeah. And there were some real football plays that he made today, which, maybe for this first year or for part of this first year, there are going to be a couple of guys that complement each other, that they bring their different various skill sets to the table. And maybe in the future, they're going to be part of the focal point of the Raiders offense on the field together. But I think today it was interesting because Dante did what he is superior at, or his strength, whereas I thought from the well-roundedness, it was Jack Besh's day.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, and it's something that we talked with Tom McMahon, special teams coordinator, about as well, about how much he loves the physicality that Besh plays with and how he could be there. And, I thought there was, side note, I think a lot of things that came out of the special teams day today that I'm always obsessed with the special teams, as you know, on this team. But a lot we learned about the kickoffs, what they plan to do, a lot of guys that they plan to use. Because we've seen, just throw this out here, Max Crosby on the field goal block, not defensively trying to block, like on the offense, on the edge, trying to seal the edge to make sure the other team doesn't block the field goal. It's kind of a weird thing to see. But it's one of those things where you can't imagine it happens in the regular season. But Tom McMahon looked right at me and said, "We would not waste reps like that."
Yeah, I heard that question. I think I was talking to Dante Thornton at the time, just kind of introduced myself and having a little conversation. I heard your question. He's like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." So okay.
Yeah, because I said, are you just trying to set the tone? Like, hey, Max is willing to do this and put him out there. And they said, we would not waste reps like that.
Well, point counterpoint, not even a counterpoint, but I guess to add on, Ashton Jeanty was taking punt returns.
And he also he answered a question about that as well, basically saying we don't care because the kickoffs now, and he was on kickoff too.
Yeah.
Because the kickoffs now are so important and there's so many more, he said we don't care where you're drafted, you're going to be playing on those teams. And I mean, it was kind of a direct question about Ashton Jeanty returning. Again, I would be stunned.
Trying to think.
I would be stunned if he's returning.
You know what's so interesting about that? If you go back to Barry Sanders', I'd have to double check this, but you remember he played behind Thurman Thomas at Oklahoma State, right? What a great,
pretty decent backfield.
Pretty decent lineage right there, one to the other. But when Thurman was doing his thing as a high-level running back at Oklahoma State, Barry was his backup, and so there was no real need to necessarily get him on the field a lot. But so he returned. He was in the return game and returned a few for touchdowns. So that skill level, I would imagine, is there for Ashton Jeanty. And I guess my question would be, do you overexpose them in that, or do you just utilize them when, if you need a big play, late in the game or something like that? Is that the time to go to him? But as Tom McMahon said, maybe not. Maybe it's all the time.
Yeah, he said, look, the kickoff now is such an important play, and obviously for those that haven't followed the offseason, now it's a 35-yard line for a touchback. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna have a lot of touchbacks. You're just not. I can't imagine teams actually kicking touchbacks and allowing the opponent to get to the 35. Maybe they do, but I can't see it. So there's going to be a lot more. Tom McMahon estimated about 70 more returns per team, and he said, "Hey, look, 70 touches are very valuable, and if we're going to try to get the ball in our best guy's hand." Now, it just seems such a crazy thought that you would expose
But
a first-round running back to running back kicks.
What you could also look at it as is if you're another team, are you kicking it to Ashton Jetty?
Yeah.
And if you're not,
you have to kick off.
Yeah, but there's two return.
Not
guys.
every team's using two. I think some are going to use one.
Good point. If they go with two, then and teams avoid kicking it to Ashton, then you could pretty much set your blocking scheme and a lot of things, and you have a really good secondary option right there, who might actually be your first option, and you're using Ashton in a way to get the other guy the ball. I don't know. You could go a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. And if you want to throw him out there as a decoy, but he also would sometimes have to actually go and make that play. And I don't think you want to expose him that many more hits unless another team would say, hey, we are going to kick it to him because we're going to hit him more.
That's
possible.
That's another good point. Now, when you look at the injuries on kickoffs, it's generally not the return guys.
No.
So I think we sometimes overplay the injury factor to the return guys. It's more of the collisions that happen between the blockers and the returning.
We can really dive down this hole because we have a lot more things to talk about. But the argument that would be made is there's a really big concern from a lot of people that study these things about Ashton Jeanty, his health this year. Because guys that touch the ball as much as he did last year in college tend to have injuries the following season. Now, that's not a guarantee. Nobody knows for sure that happens, and everybody's different for sure.
Yeah.
But if the concern...
Man, times have changed. Because I just remember guys like Marcus Allen going, I'll go from 5,000 carries in my senior year at USC to 5,000 carries in the NFL. My goodness.
If the concern mathematically is more injuries happen when you have that many touches in a year, how are you going to protect is not the right word because I think they're going to use him a lot on offense. But I don't think you want to expose him to 70 more hits potentially.
I probably would lend or lean that way, but you never know.
I think it's fascinating, and it's an element of the game. By the way, this is why the kickoff rule changed because they want it to be a play. Like for the last year they tried, but they didn't do it right because I did write a comment at the beginning of last year. It has to be the 35, not the 30.
Right.
They didn't listen. And they made it to 30, and the kickoff still was irrelevant. But the reason the NFL wanted this is they want the kickoff to be relevant. They want us to be discussing this. We would have never discussed kickoffs ever for like the last 20 years, and now all of a sudden it's a thing.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we will share more observations of day 1 and day 5 of training camp, but day 1 in pads, and also – this Christian Wilkins story just
it's a thing now.
It's been a thing, but it became a thing today with some reports that surfaced. So we'll take a quick break and we'll talk about it on the other side.
So if you haven't had a chance to get the app yet, again, we still have the $50 no worry wager available. What a great time to get in the summer. Get yourself familiar with the app, the auto racing, horse racing, the golf,
women's softball,
the MMA. Whatever you're interested in, check out the STN Sports app.
Welcome back, Raider Nation, to Vegas Nation First and 10. Your daily now go-to for Raider news and basically daily for Raiders news and analysis. I'm Vinny Bonsignore. I'm joined by Adam Hill. All right.
Do you remember what you were talking about when I spiraled off into special teams talk?
We were talking about Jack Besh,
Dante Thornton.
But
I thought you were about to make a point, and I just decided to talk about special teams.
That's all good. It must not have been a very good point. It'll come back to me at some point. I guess I feel like Besh and Thornton, I think of the two, when it's all said and done, I still think Besh is going to have the bigger numbers, maybe not as big of an impact because, if they can hit that long ball consistently this year with Dante Thornton. And by the way, keep mentioning Dante Thornton and the long ball. You know who's been getting quietly a whole lot of work? A guy by the name of Trey Tucker.
Yeah.
He's another wide receiver that it feels like he and Geno Smith are developing some real chemistry right now.
Yeah, and he's a veteran now. We talked to him the other day about being one of the leaders in the room, one of the older guys. Eric Stokes talked about that as a corner today, being 26 and being the old guy in the room. But yeah, he's getting to the point where he has a lot of experience. He's not old. As he said, he's the same age as the rookies, but he's been around a few years, and he's got to try to use some of that now to kind of turn that corner. He's got to turn the corner. He's got to stay healthy, all those things, and really, really good kid. I think a lot of people are cheering for him, but we'll see how that goes.
And he's looked good.
Yeah, I think he's had a really good camp and a good off season, and that's largely why even with the new regime that doesn't have much experience with him, he's been running a lot with the first team for sure. We talk about Thornton has been really over Besh, no question, in terms of where they are right now, where they line up. But I think both of us probably feel Besh has a better statistical
That's
rookie season.
thinking,
And I will say, as somebody who does a lot of fantasy drafts, I was in a rookie only draft, and Jack Bech certainly went far before Dante Thornton.
Okay.
Just as a just as an analysis of where the thought process is right now in those guys.
We'll see how that all plays out. I guess since we're talking about depth chart and rotations, let's just remind everybody we talked yesterday on Sunday about the starting center job being quote unquote up for grabs. Jackson Powers Johnson was back with the first team offense today. Jordan Meredith was with the second team offense. We both agree that we feel like that's how this is going to play out, but you never know. And then conversely, on the other side of the football, we talked yesterday about how DeCameron Richardson was with the first team defense alongside or opposite Eric Stokes. Today, it was Darian Porter, the rookie from Iowa State, was back at the starting cornerback. DeCameron Richardson was back at the second string cornerback. However, things stayed the same for Jacorian Bennett. Yeah. He was back with the third team today, and T.J. Woods was getting the reps that Jacorian had previously been getting. So it feels like at least 2 straight days now, Jacorian Bennett is kind of looking like he's falling down the depth chart.
Yeah, and he's got work to do. He's got time also, but he's got work to do to catch back up and get back up to where he wants to be, and where I think a lot of people have expected that he would be. But again, he is a guy who might not be the beneficiary. We talk about fresh starts for a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. He's one of those that I think had some status built up in the previous regime that you don't have anymore. So, like a lot of guys, if we talked about Michael Mayer yesterday, it's a clean slate.
It is.
What happened last year is wiped away, and he's happy for that. He's glad that it can be a fresh start. A guy like Jacorian Bennett, I think was going in the right direction, was proceeding a lot, had to earn their trust, and you kind of lose that. So it's a clean slate both ways, whether it's good or bad.
And in Jacorian's case, I checked in with some people around the league that I respect. They were a little surprised, but not overly surprised. And the consistent, response that I was getting was, this is a good football player. He might just be in the wrong system right now or playing for the wrong head coach. Yeah. We understand that Pete Carroll likes his cornerbacks tall and fast. Jacorian's fast. He's not tall. No. He's 5'10", and that's just historically, when you look at cornerbacks with Pete Carroll, that's just not the body type that he generally prefers at that position. Woods, DeCameron Richardson, Eric Stokes, and Porter for sure fit
Porter's
that
prototype.
Yeah, they're all kind of prototypes. So that he might be the odd man out simply because of the body type. Now, I will say this. I think that there would be genuine interest for Jacorian Bennett outside this building. So I'm wondering if that's something, if it keeps kind of trending in this direction. I don't know that he wouldn't get you something out on the open market. It could be a 6th-round pick. It could be a 5th or 7th-round pick, whatever the case might be. I think there's some value to that because I do believe if he gets exposed to waivers, and he would be a waiver wire transaction because he hasn't accrued the 4 years, somebody's going to jump all over that. I feel very strongly in saying that.
Yeah, but I think that's certainly down the road, and we saw what Jacorian Bennett was able to do last year, especially on third downs, where he was pretty solid for much of the year. Somebody would be interested, and I think it is more of a system thing to me, where he might just not fit here. But I think there's still time for him. I'm not writing him off in terms of making the team just shit.
It's just sliding in the wrong direction, and that's been pretty conspicuous. But you know what? There's a game in 10 days, if that. You figure that Jacorian's probably going to be on the field now more than ever, with his status. So maybe he's got a chance there to really open up some eyes. All right, so those were our thoughts based on first day of training camp in pads today on Monday here at the practice facility. All right, so there was some off-field news that broke today. And this Christian Wilkins situation, Adam
broke the internet today.
It kind of broke the internet, it took some bizarre turns without question. Here's the very latest. Christian Wilkins, in the days leading up to his release, was involved in an incident with a player at the Raiders practice facility. It was in a team meeting room. It wasn't in front of a whole bunch of people or anything like that. Through my multiple sources, basically he tried to kiss a teammate, and that teammate was a little bit unnerved by the situation, ultimately reported it to Human Resources, and that's where that kind of lands or remains at the moment. But it kind of, an incident that obviously everybody takes seriously whenever Human Resources is involved, and we'll see to what extent that plays into the argument that the Raiders are going to make on the guaranteed money. I've had other NFL sources who indicated that maybe there was some pattern of behavior on incidents, and this was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, and they opted to release him and simultaneously also void the guarantees on the contract. He's since filed a grievance with the NFL Players Association on that. But I guess your thoughts on what we learned today.
It's a lot. It certainly adds a different dynamic to the entire story. I think there was a lot of assumption out there that there was something else that was at play, but I think it's all connected in some way. It's all part of it. It's all part of a pattern of, not the. It was. It's interesting to say because the stories are so varied, like they're not related, but they are all part of the picture, right? Yeah. So it's like this incident that has happened that we're reporting on is very different from the way that the injury was handled and the way that the team had a disagreement with where he was. Also different from, whether there was ever any comfortability between Christian Wilkins and this organization in terms of the new regime that's here. All those things are different and not at all the same, but they're all part of one picture. So it's kind of hard to tie that all together, but I think it does start to make a clearer picture of a dysfunctional relationship, certainly, between Christian Wilkins and the team and where they were, and I think it's all going to be played out. I still think the biggest part of this is how it's all resolved, how the grievance is played out, how the mediation is heard, the arbiter that decides this. It's all going to come back to how it plays into the salary cap and the guaranteed money and all that. That is the biggest thing of this story. But man, there's a lot of pieces here that are, just very fascinating and are going to be, talked about for a long time. But to me, and this is kind of what I'm writing right now, you check it out, obviously, Review Journal and Vegas Nation, like, I just feel like it explains so much of why they had to make the move that they made in terms of this is a team that's trying to overcome a massive obstacle of going from 4 wins to being competitive. That's very, very hard to do.
Yeah, and
it's even harder to do when there's something like this hanging over the locker room and it's going on, and to have him not be here anymore is probably helpful for their preparation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't know that anyone's necessarily, dwelling on the fact that Christian Wilkins is not here, or for the reasons that he's not here. Maybe there's a player that might be, obviously the Human Resources complaint or report, I should say, and everything that goes with that. And I would suggest to everybody, let it play out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see...
you don't have to be the first person to make a joke about this on social media.
Don't have to be the first person to make a joke, number
rule.
one. Number two, we've seen some characterizations on what it may or may not have been, or what the intent was or wasn't. I would suggest you let that play out as well, because I'll just put it this way. I'm hearing things that are completely different than some of the reporting that's out there. But even me, myself, I'm just going to let it play out. There will be, to whatever extent there's investigations and there's an arbitrator and all that type of stuff. Just let that process, play out. You could go to Vegas Nation and read my story on it, and I think I was pretty clear in through my sourcing. What happened, and at least in terms of that incident, that's over at vegasnation.com. You can check out the story. Now, Adam brings up some key parts of this, and that's the guaranteed money, the salary cap implications. It all kind of plays into it. It's all connected when it comes to money. A couple of paperwork items. Number one, the next step that happens in this is that the NFL and the NFL Players Association will agree to a date where this gets put on a calendar to be heard, right? That's the next step. I've heard that could be anywhere from next spring's grievance calendar. They might be able to try to get it onto the fall grievance calendar. Those are two distinctly different things if you're the Raiders, because here's the other part of this. There's $35.2 million that the Raiders are, that's the grieve. That's what they're trying to void, in terms of those guarantees that are remaining on Christian Wilkins' contract. So when you do this sort of thing, and then the player does his end of it, which is file a grievance, now it goes into a process. And if you're the Raiders, you can't just say, well, we've got $35 million now under the salary cap. That's not how this works. It would be 40% of that $35.2 million. There will be a salary cap hold on that money. So what is that, $14 million and change will count against the Raiders' cap while this all gets resolved. And then when it does get resolved, either that $14 million will be resolved or will we fall off of their salary cap, or I guess if you're Christian Wilkins, then it's the opposite, where the entirety of it will have to be calculated onto the Raiders' salary cap in some form or fashion. That's to be determined by somebody else. But for your practical purposes, if you're thinking, well, now the Raiders could go sign somebody or next, and here's why this is important. If it's next spring, if it doesn't happen till next spring, theoretically that could be after free agency, which is in March. So the Raiders might be less $14.8 million or whatever that figure is, the 40% of the 35.2, less that amount of money under their cap to work with. So for the Raiders' purposes, I'm sure they want to get this resolved as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no question. And I think it also goes back to, all of these things were risks. When the Raiders decided, hey, it's time, we're going to move on, you risk the fact that maybe you don't win, maybe you don't get any of this money back, maybe you just have to eat this for the next couple of years. It's possible. That is a possible outcome here. I think the Raiders, to make this move, believe that they're in a pretty good case or in a pretty good position to try to win this case. But it's possible that they lose. But I think the calculation was, hey, even if we lose, not worth it at this point. And I feel like that's fair, and I think we're seeing that kind of play out of all these different things that are coming out. And guess what? I don't feel like this is the end of the story. This has all changed in the last 3-4 hours. I imagine it's going to change even more the next couple of days. More and more, stories and things are going to come out. So I feel like it's just at a point of, even if you do lose in the end, I think you weigh the fact that, hey, everybody's trying to get ready for the season. I mean, if Christian Wilkins is still here, this stuff still could be coming out.
Without a doubt,
not necessarily.
It would just be there would be a human resources.
Come out, right?
And that it's important to point that out. That any line of business, any organization takes seriously, or they should anyway, seriously when an employee is affected to a point, from a fellow employee or a boss or whatever the case might be, where, hey, I got to go to human resources about that. That's why human resources is there, and it behooves anybody, the Raiders or anybody else that runs a business, to take that stuff seriously. Right. So there's, as Adam said, there's, the jokes and all this, and there's a salary cap, situation and impact and all that. But there's also, somebody a player on the team, felt compelled enough to say, hey, this wasn't right. I didn't like what happened. I'm taking this to human resources, and I think that's something that everybody should always take seriously.
Yeah, and I guess to further what I was saying is that it would still be coming out most likely. Maybe not on this timeline. It might not have happened today. It might have been down the road.
Yeah,
still would have come out if he was still around. If they hadn't made the decision to move on. Like every day, the question would be, "Hey, Christian Wilkins is still here.
Right?
He's still here. What? Right? And you don't get to just move on and prepare for a season, right? So I think that's part of the calculation of, hey, even if you're the Raiders, even if we lose this,
good point.
What was it worth?
Yeah.
having him around while all this comes out? Like, probably not. So I think you even make that trade-off of, even if we lose, it's probably worth not dealing with.
Correct, because there is a season to be played, and you're at that point now where you're preparing for that season, and the last thing you need is the drama of that. Kind of a tough situation all the way around. I think all of us have been involved. Whether it's us personally, I can't say that it was ever me personally, but where something like some kind of drama was happening in your place of work, and it's usually not conducive to getting good work done, right?
No.
It's just the way it is, and yes, this is football, yes, this is entertainment, but there's a human side to all of this, and I never try to lose sight of any of that.
Yeah, and I think that's when we do have these issues, and obviously this is a bigger spotlight because it's the NFL and it's football, and there's going to be salaciousness to it that people are going to be focused on. But I think, it's important to relate to, like, every workplace has situations.
Exactly.
Like, everybody can understand things that happen in the workplace that can affect work and those sort of things. And, like, the fact that they are willing to take this, hey, even if we lose, he's gone. It's time to move on. It's time to play. Now, it's still going to go on. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's just going to stop, but at least it's almost compartmentalized of that's happening over here. The team is preparing for the season over here, and that's able to happen because he's not here.
And quite honestly, this is now in the hands of lawyers,
yeah,
not coaches, and everyone else that's part of the actual football team. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to get back to our thoughts on what happened at practice today.
This one's for the Vegas locals and Vegas locals only. STN Sports is the sports betting experience built for you. From the app to the 19 convenient locations across the valley to sign up, bet, and watch your favorite games. And with a massive betting menu and daily odds boost, there are tons of ways to get in the action. Sign up today.
On to more pertinent football-related things. I thought Ashton Genty had a nice day bouncing off some tackles today. I can't wait to see him in an actual game, to see how many of those behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage confrontations or collisions with defensive players end up with him, gaining yards. He was pretty darn good at that in college. I don't think he's going to be as good as that in the NFL. That's just going to be really hard. But it felt like he was pretty juiced up to be out there finally with the pads today as well.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's you're not tackling, and I thought they were particularly careful with him.
He got tackled. He
got knocked down.
Yeah,
I don't think he got tackled.
Either way, yeah.
But yeah, I thought that they were particularly careful. Like, hey, let's not hit him because a couple guys got hit.
Yeah,
a couple guys got hit. He did not, but a couple guys did for sure. It wasn't like physical in terms of fights, things like that, but. You could tell guys wanted to hit somebody.
Yeah, you got it. You're a football player. You're itching.
If you're a defensive player, you're like, I'm not going to hit that guy.
Right. Yeah, and get cut.
I'm not going to get in trouble, so I'm going to hit somebody else.
Yeah. I'll say this as well. Zamir White, I'm going to give Zamir White a lot of credit right now. He has answered the bell.
Yeah.
He looks it's hard. Zamir always looks like he's in shape.
Sure.
But it felt like last year he added muscle and added girth, maybe in anticipation of carrying the running load. And I think it was to his detriment. It must have been because this year he looks completely different physically. And he's moving around pretty darn fast out there, pretty darn smooth out there. We also mentioned the fact that, who knows, maybe the Chip Kelly offense and what his scheme is more conducive to his vision, his running style.
It can't be less conducive.
That's true, too. But, credit where credit's due. Zamir White's looked pretty good.
He's been great this offseason, I think, all throughout. And he's somebody I think I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago of, like, he's been looking really good.
Yeah.
He's looked really good this offseason. And
could he – are we going to go there? Could he be the number 2 running back on this team?
Potentially. Look,
that's his best role.
Raheem Mostert was not here today. We should point that out.
Yeah.
He had a child, or he didn't have a child. His wife had a child. I believe their fourth.
That would have been a story.
I think fourth child, first daughter. Okay. I think is what it was.
All right,
about. Nice. I don't know what time it was born, but they posted around 4 a.m. of the child. So he was not here.
And Adam, no doubt, was up at 4 a.m. to see that.
If you go look at my Twitter account, I posted. I think. My screenshot is 1 minute after they posted. I think they posted at 4:01. I posted at 4:02.
You're mad, Adam.
But yeah, so he was not here. He was up all night. I don't think he's going to be gone 2.5 weeks.
Oh, a little Devontae Adams.
I didn't say that. I just said
a long pass from Jimmy Garoppolo?
Don't think he's going to be gone 2.5 weeks. I didn't say what that was about.
You see that long pass that
that's your interpretation of what I was talking about.
Devontae caught from Jimmy G?
I did. That's not who I was talking about, though. I was just saying it in general. I don't think he's going to be gone 2.5 weeks. But yeah, I think he It depends where they are, and I do think a lot has to do with special teams still, like
Absolutely.
in terms of who's gonna be used where. And Raheem Mostert is 33 years old, so a little bit older of a running back. Zamir White could be in the mix for sure. I've always been a fan of Sincere McCormick's talent. So
yeah,
I think it's a really good battle. It's one I've been watching quite a bit out on the field, and it's been the order, no question, throughout every single drill, every single thing they've ever done this whole offseason and in the training camp has been Genty, Mostert, McCormick, Zeus. So it's been that consistent.
Zamir, yesterday was Zamir ahead of McCormick. Yeah, Zamir was with the first team yesterday. We got some throws to him, got some handouts to him, which I took note of because okay, maybe he is making a little bit of a move. We talked to Pete Carroll tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. So. Yeah, before the day off. Before the day off, let's ask Pete Carroll about Zamir White tomorrow. One of us will ask him about that. Speaking about physicality, and Zamir has definitely been flashing the physicality. Here's Jack Besh, the Raiders rookie wide receiver, talking about that element in training camp today.
I love physicality. It's one of my favorite parts of the game. We have the best special teams coordinator in the NFL, Coach Tom. So, whatever he needs me to do, front line, if that's punt return, kick return, kickoff, kick return, whatever it may be, I'm all for it. I like going and get dirty. I like putting my paws on people. So like I said, I'm all for doing whatever it is to help this team win and get to where we're going.
And that was Jack Besh, the Raiders rookie wide receiver from TCU, who Adam and I both agree had his best day. And probably the best day of any player today on the field. And really, honestly, and I'm not saying that retrospectively, I felt coming into today's practice, this was the day that Jack was going to step it up because this is his style of day. Full pads, getting after it, using his physicality to get off the line of scrimmage and to go make plays. So good for him showing up today. It'll be interesting and can't wait really to see him in the game against the Seattle Seahawks in about 10 days or so. Any final thoughts, Adam, going into day 2? I think they're going to be in pads tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think they will, and they might. I'm not sure. I was going to say something. I'm not sure if we know that yet, so I won't. But no,
I know you're. Yeah.
It's a big week, certainly for practices. They do have a day off Wednesday, but then they ramp up to Saturday. I think that's kind of the day to circle for this week. Is Saturday? Fans can be out there at Allegiant Stadium,
a mock game,
and it's going to be a mock game from everything that we've heard in terms of what they plan to do out there. So I think if you can be out there, I'd be out there. I think it's going to be a pretty spirited practice, a pretty competitive practice, and I think everything's kind of ramping up to Saturday this week.
By the way, I was just reminded of some scrimmages that I remember when Pete Carroll oversaw USC, and they would get after it in those scrimmages. And the reason I was reminded of that was I ended up talking to Justin Fargas today.
Okay.
Justin Fargas is the Bill Walsh Fellowship coach for the Raiders this year, and he's walking around on crutches. So I happened to see him early this morning. I go, what happened? I've known Justin since he was at high school in Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks. Tore his Achilles on the practice field during OTAs. I go, what? He's like, yeah. He goes, getting old, I guess. He goes, I didn't stretch, well enough, and I turned one way, and I guess the foot didn't turn the other. And but he's gotten it out. He's gotten it out on the crutches out there. He does. Justin Fargas, if you think about it, so many different connections now. He played for the Raiders.
Sure.
He also played under Pete Carroll at USC as a transfer back to California from Michigan, and was really he and Carson Palmer and Troy Polamalu and all those great players were part of literally the turnaround. They set the table for all that success that USC ended up having. His senior year or his last year, Justin Fargas' last year, and Carson Palmer's last year. Carson won the Heisman Trophy. They went and beat Iowa, the pants off of Iowa in the Orange Bowl, and away USC went from that point on. They were winning national championship after that. So here's Justin Fargas coming back, wants to be a coach, and is working for Pete Carroll. I think that's a cool little full circle moment for him.
His wife with the Aces. Or?
Yes,
yeah.
the
Nikki.
team president, Nikki Fargas, and boy, they're struggling, aren't they? The Aces, did they lose?
500.
All right,
they're 500. They're fine.
All right, we'll see. The Aces building is right next door.
Who did the Aces taking strays in the podcast today? Look at this.
AJ Cole could punt from here to the.
He actually could.
He could punt it over.
Yeah,
He could probably get it to Carmine's. the pizzeria, which
that'd be a
it'd be a bomb, but he's done it before.
All right, called me out today because first of all, I wasn't criticizing. I was actually complimenting him, asking if he knew where he stood on the all-time punting average list. Number 2.
What did he call you out for? Like saying, do you think that I really pay attention?
No. I asked him if he knows where he stands on the list, and he said no. And I said, well, you're number 2, and that was a compliment. I thought,
of course.
And he said, well, who's number 1? I was like, I don't know. I just know you're number 2. And he's like, you got to come armed with facts if you're going to criticize me. I said, I'm not criticizing you. I thought number 2 was good.
Well, yeah, all time.
Thought it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I did look it up while we were talking. It was Jack Fox, I believe, is who it is, who is still also a current punter. So
there you go.
But yeah, I think he's 0.2 behind. So he has my point was, because he was talking about making history, and he never even thought about being an NFL player. So how could he ever think about what mark he wanted to leave, what legacy he wanted to leave? And I said, well, now that you're this close, like being number 1 all time would be a pretty impressive thing. And so yeah, he didn't really acknowledge. You don't want to say like, oh yeah, I want to finish number 1 all time, but I'm sure it's part of the.
Of course,
if you're this close.
Why not?
It's part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if that happens. He's going to be here a good long time.
Signed a new deal.
He's going to be here for a little while. All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Monday here at the Raiders practice facility, day 5 of training camp, day 1 in full pads. We thank you for your support. Always remind you to please keep hitting the like button. Leave us some remarks, questions. We'll answer your questions if you drop any questions in the comments section. Please subscribe. If you have some friends or a family member that's a Raider fan, what about a gift, a Vegas Nation gift subscription to them? We're your one-stop shop for Raider news and analysis, and we got photos and videos and columns and stories, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to go anywhere else but the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation for Raider news and analysis. Thank you for your support. Thanks to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Thank you to Station Casinos, STN Sports. Thanks to Heidi Fang for all the great work that she does. Until tomorrow, enjoy your Monday, and we will talk to you after tomorrow's practice.